Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 1000 Gurus. Today's guest is John Tieng.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate it. So, let me just go into how I know you. So, we met several years back, back at Seaside Sessions, the freestyle dance sessions in Newport Beach through our mutuals, Annie and Christy.
Yep.
And I think, for me personally, I think your freestyles were always super crazy to me because I guess for the audience, I would describe it as like very controlled, clean pictures, isolations, and a lot of musicality. And then since then, I've been following your career journey on social media, which is really cool. You learning different martial arts, and then getting into stunt work and some tricking, and you were promoting some of the different like features that you were in. And then like most guests on the show, like I really admire and respect that like you are putting yourself out there to like do and pursue what you're passionate about. And I feel like the audience would learn a lot from you. So I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's nice to have a fellow Filipino,
Yes.
to just grab, people that are interesting. I wouldn't say I'm crazy interesting,
Mhm.
but I think I have an interesting story.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
definitely. Well, we'll leave that up to the audience to decide. I think you're really interesting. So I want to start off with a few videos of yours. So the first one is your 2024 stunt reel.
Mhm.
So let's get into that real quick.
What a frame.
Yes, nice.
Mhm.
Let's just show a few seconds of this, but he does some crazy stuff here. Who doesn't like being attacked by several people at once?
Right, exactly.
Plus, this is all real, so
This is all real, yeah. It all hurts.
That's what they say about like wrestling.
Yeah.
They're like wrestling is scripted, but it's real. It's not
real.
fake.
Yeah,
it's not fake.
100% real.
Yeah, glass on the face. Legit. Thank you. All right. So that was crazy. Like I said, mad respect for you still doing all that stuff.
Thank you.
So I mentioned like choreography and freestyle. So you were big into choreography and freestyle, at least when I met you, or
Yeah.
like before then. We have a couple of videos for that too.
Okay.
So this next one is this one's just fun.
This one's
I just wanted to show it.
The highlight of my life in my dance career.
Boyfriend such a bag. Your mama told you so.
See, he's a dancer, guys.
This is the highlight. I think we just need to show this one.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Boyfriend such
Yeah.
That's fun. I love that.
It's funny because like there are some choreographies that I'm in where I'm just like furniture,
Yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
like
yeah.
lifting someone up or just
Exactly.
sitting there, and I'm like, I've been training all these years just to do this.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was funny because that performance, I had different variations of that moment. I'm like, I think on that day, right before I stepped out, I was like, I'm just gonna walk out and stand there, and I
Yeah.
just want to do
Just,
nothing,
like,
and
whatever.
then walk off.
What were the variations?
There was one where I took a selfie because the lyrics is, "Your boyfriend is such a douchebag,"
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, how do I make myself look like that?
Oh,
You know, I'm like, one was like just on my phone, one was like taking a selfie, and it was like different things. I was like, I'm just gonna walk out, and do nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
So, and then that's
I think it
that was
worked.
Yeah, I think
Especially
it
just
worked.
the little shrug and
Yeah,
the
I'm
little
s-
look, and then just walk off. It was
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I got a bigger reaction in that than anything I've done.
That's how it is. That's how
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
how it is.
All right, third video. This is your actual choreography,
Okay.
or more sophisticated. So cool. Like I said, what I like about your choreography is your musicality is really good, but the movements also make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
As a choreographer myself, it's like you can do moves, but I don't know. I think I can appreciate it when it's like that move makes sense for that musicality.
yeah. I think the way I was choreographing at the time was like very storytelling.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nice. Okay, I think we can move on to the last one now. So the last one's your freestyle. So we'll show a little bit of this, but this is the first.
This is the first time I
Oh.
did Seaside Session.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait,
This was my
one,
first night.
This one said green side.
Green
Is that the
side.
same
This is
thing?
green side. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
same
okay.
thing. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Oh, yes. First time ever freestyling. Okay,
Yeah.
man.
So this was my first night with you guys, and I was like, okay. I had no idea what this song was.
Oh yeah.
No idea.
That's what I liked about their freestyle sessions. Was like, all right, we're gonna play a song, just go for it, because that's what freestyle is.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Damn. Let's go. You're making us look bad, man. You're making all of us look bad.
Good times.
All right.
Very good
Good. Thanks, Solomon.
Yeah.
Nice. So that is the John Tieng that I know. But then so you've been doing all this other cool stuff. So we'll get into it. So first question is normal, is like, what is your origin story? Like, where'd you grow up? What were your main influences? And like, what were your aspirations like as a kid growing up till now?
So I'm going to share something that I don't think a lot of people know with you and you. I'm actually born in the Philippines, but I was raised in LA pretty much my entire life because I'm actually adopted from the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a big story there.
I didn't know that.
We can get into later on. But so I grew up in LA, in Alhambra specifically. And then I started dancing. My movement life started when I was like in third grade. Started when I was watching and listening to NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all our 90s hit groups, learning choreography just through their music videos or their performances. So my choreography mind started going. So learning through a camera, learning by watching. And then getting to high school, I joined my all-male dance team then. Did that for all my high school life. And then after that, I got into college and joined Barcata Modern and a bunch of teams after that. And then, did like a good maybe 5-6 years of collegiate competitive dancing. And that's kind of how we kind of know each other. Yeah.
So you were dancing since you were little and inspired by those sort of like 90s hit groups and stuff like that. Was it like that was just how do I phrase this? Okay, as a fellow Filipino, stereotypically we dance out of the room, we sing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So then how did that come into? Was it like you just naturally thought that, or was it like people around you or influences that are like, yeah, you should try dancing? Like, what was that? Inherent? Is it nurture, nature?
I think it just, growing up, I loved music. And seeing people dance to music was just like, it just felt good. It felt like it looked very freeing, very therapeutic. I think as a kid, it's like, that just looks fun.
Yeah.
I just want to do it. Yeah, they look like they're having fun. I want to do what they're doing. Yeah. And then as inspiration growing up, my cousin Genevieve was also a dancer. So I think she had a lot of inspiration for me.
I see. So then, did you go to school somewhere like college or anything?
So I did a lot of community college at the time, right after high school. Again, I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I wasn't big on school, so I was more into the arts. I was like, I just want to do like artistic stuff.
Yeah, which you enjoy.
So I ended up going to film school, and I did my 3 years, got my bachelor's, and that's how I have my whole film production side.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So then, did you know? So it seems like you're saying you enjoyed the arts, you enjoyed dancing and music and all that stuff, and then you eventually went to film school. Did you inherently know that that's the path you wanted to do, or is like as you kind of dug deeper and you're like, oh, this is a lot of fun, and then you're like, okay, let's do film school?
Yeah, I think it definitely didn't happen right away. As I did college, kind of just roaming around a little bit. I was thinking about, I was like, I love films, and I've been watching films my entire life, and I was like, I think I just want to do this. And because during dance, we were filming dances.
Yeah.
We were filming dances, and that kind of bled into what became my love for film. I was like, I knew what to do with the camera. I was like, what if I shot movies? Growing up, like, I think acting was also another thing that I enjoyed. Because as kids, we always played pretend, right? So playing pretend was a big talent of a kid.
Yeah.
Now I just get to do it as an adult. So I was like, okay, film, I know how to use a camera. There's acting. Why don't you just get into film? So that's kind of like the start of it.
Nice. So then, after film school, what was like I don't know if you had like a career trajectory or like okay, I want to eventually get to this or do that, but could you walk us through maybe like your thought process as you were, going to school, community college, and then film school? Like, what were your aspirations at that point?
So that kind of also bleeds into my stunt career. Well, for my film career, like I wanted to be an editor
Mm.
because I started as an editor before film school, and then I was like, okay, I want to go to film school to learn more about editing. When I got into film school, I was like, okay, well, I learned a lot about the production side, learned how to use a camera, how to use lights, how to use the sound system, and that kind of led me into directing. And at the time of all my uh, film production schooling, that's when I got into fighting as well.
Mm.
So my fight career started at the same time.
Oh.
So it was funny because while I was in school, I would say class would start at 9. I would already be in the gym at 7, training.
Mm.
So my day started very early every day, and then went to school. So that's kind of how my career in film and stunts kind of started.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
But going back to your question,
Yeah.
goals wise, I wanted to be an editor. I wanted to edit movies.
Mm.
So that was like my goal.
So it was like your goal at that time was to be behind the computer,
Mhm.
editing,
Yeah.
but then you found yourself like being hands-on, you're
Yes.
filming, directing, and then
Yeah.
you got into like stunt work. So how did that, well, I guess that kind of answers the question, right? Like you just started doing stuff.
Yeah.
How did you like get into the position where now you're like in front of the camera, like being shot? Was it just that process of being in film school that you naturally found yourself in front of the camera?
I think being behind the camera was nice, but then as a dancer
Mm.
growing up, we loved being in front of the
Right,
camera.
right, right.
Yeah, we loved performing. So that kind of bled into why I wanted to be a stunt performer. And when I started fighting, I started meeting a lot of stunt people who taught me everything I know now. So that led me to being in front of the camera and my love for film even more. Because what I learned in school helped me be a better performer. So I understand camera, I understand lighting, I understand sounds, I understand where things are and how everything works on set. So now when I perform, I don't people don't really need to give me too many notes because I understand what's happening.
Right.
You know,
Like the technical stuff behind the whole entire production, not
yeah,
just kind of like your area of your acting, your performing,
exactly,
whatever, but it's like, okay, you need to consider like your blocking, the lights, the
exactly.
sound, the
Yeah.
camera, and everything.
Hmm.
It makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So then my next question is how do you connect the dots between, this passion, this pursuit of like dancing,
Mhm.
you're doing this for forever. And then you're going to film school. Like how do you connect the dots there of like how did that transition into like fighting? And before we recorded this, I
Mhm.
told you how my background is like kind of like the opposite of yours. Like
Yeah.
my family, we all did martial arts growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did martial arts before I started dancing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my lens. But then you're kind of you dance for forever and then you start getting into fighting.
Yeah.
So could you connect the dots with how you made that transition from, dancing to
Sure.
film and then fighting?
So my dancing, I did it for a good 12 years of my life. And then when I transitioned to martial arts, it was actually very easy.
Mm.
But there is a funny story of why I started fighting. After I stopped dancing for a while, after my 12 years of dancing, um, my knee was not good.
Mm.
As I have dancer knees, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And my right knee specifically, my patella was overstretched, right? All the knee drops, all the backflips, whatever,
Yeah.
right? So
You saying that's not good for your body?
definitely not. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So then you
Yeah,
go to fight work.
but yet I do it now. Yeah, yeah. So I got knee surgery, right? And then I got addicted to the healing process.
Mm.
So in my recovery, which was supposed to be 6 months, right? I did it in 3. And I got addicted to healing. And I thought about it. So I was like, I did 12 years of dance. I really like this healing process right now. How far can I push my body?
Mm.
That's when the itch for fighting started. Yeah, which is really weird.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you should fight. You should mess up your body more. I'm like, well, I think I saw it as like, getting to understand your body even more. So that's why I started fighting. So that's to connect the dots a little more. It's like, as a dancer, learning how to fight was learning a new style. Yeah, that's all it was. So it was a good exploration to find the love for movement again. Yeah.
I like that. I also like how it's a combination of your different. So dancing or fighting is like a different dance style.
Yeah.
But now you have this experience in like production, like producing these films. And then so now it's like kind of a marriage of those things. So it must have been like a crazy experience that you're in it now and you're like, wow, this is like everything that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that sort of feeling.
Yeah.
So then like I guess at that point in time, so you transition from dancing to fighting, and then it's like you're addicted to the healing process, like you said, seeing how far you can push your body. Were there any like influences that other influences that got you into specifically fighting? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I can make an assumption. You also like martial arts films,
Yes.
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's a little guy named Jackie Chan who
Not really well
not
known.
really well known.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of a nobody. Uh, but Jackie Chan was a big inspiration. Not only for me but for a lot of the stunt community, because he actually created what we call Rex, our falls. He created a staple for people to learn how to fall.
Oh, I
Like
see.
these are the falls, and he created this whole
Oh,
dictionary of it.
yeah.
So all the falls that you see on film, everything is Jackie Chan created, which is really cool. But Jackie Chan was definitely one of them. As a kid, I was very into Power Rangers,
Of course.
very into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For like film wise, like Three Ninjas was a big thing. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of martial arts films that I grew up, especially Chinese martial arts, that I watched that I don't even know the names of anymore. And they're like on VHSs,
Yeah.
So a lot of it was uh, inspired, honestly, by my dad, who showed me these films, or like these movies, these Chinese movies specifically, and I just fell in love with it. Yeah, so growing up, there was a lot of like influences there.
I see. Yeah, for me, it was a lot of like Jackie Chan also, but also like a lot of Jet Li
Jet
films.
Li,
A
definitely.
huge Jet Li
Oh,
fan.
yeah.
Like I would always watch. Like we had a lot of his tapes as well,
Mhm.
or DVDs and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so it was super crazy.
If you could name one of Jet Li's films that off the top of your head, what would it be?
Okay, so there's he had the Once Upon a Time in China films, but there's also, was it Double Dragon or something like that, or something else that I used to watch a lot. It might have been like Twin Dragons or Double Dragons, one of those
I
two.
think it's Twin
Twin Dragon.
one of
Yeah,
them.
okay, it's one of
Yeah.
those, and then also his American ones like Kiss of the Dragon
Kiss the Dragon.
and The One.
The One. I was gonna say The One.
I played all those movies every single
Yeah.
like nonstop.
Yeah, The One is crazy.
The One's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think there's the other one like Romeo Must Die.
Romeo Must Die, yes.
That's a good one.
Also, because my sister and my mom were like huge Aaliyah fans. I mean,
Yeah.
myself as well. So it was
Yeah.
cool to see him in like Hollywood films, because
Yeah.
we'd watch all of his like Chinese
For
films.
sure, yeah.
And then seeing him in Romeo Must Die.
I think Romeo Must Die was his first American film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yes, Jet Li.
Yeah, Jelly's
What a guy.
amazing. Yeah, and Jackie Chan. It's like, that movie that where they were both in that came out like maybe 2010 or something like that.
Yeah, I know what
You know what I'm talking about, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like
the kid goes into this world.
yeah,
yeah.
and then it's like, of course, Jackie Chan's like the drunk guy, and then Jet Li is another old
Like an
sage
old-
dude.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. It was like, man, my two like martial arts
I think it
heroes
was
are
the
in this
first
movie.
film they were in together.
That would make
I
sense
think so. Yeah.
because I wouldn't know anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so like on the topic of stunt work, and like I know we're gonna get into like the dangers of action work, but like were there any specific opportunities or connections or stories that you can, I guess, walk us through that got you to where you are today? I know a lot of I can make an assumption. So like film industry, it's like, connections and who you know and who can like refer you to these different roles. But when transitioning to, okay, I kind of just do this on my own for fun. Were there any sort of like connections, opportunities that you got through someone else that got you more into the industry?
Yes. A lot of it has to deal with training. It also depends on where you train. Obviously, there's a lot of martial arts studios out there. Some specific gyms that are catering to stunt performers would be Joining All Movement, There's Tempest Free Running now, and one that I work at, which is called Swordplay LA. There's there's many others specifically, but like these are some of the gyms that cater to building stunt performers.
Oh, I see.
So training at those locations, you meet a lot of performers from acting to circus to stunts and to even dancing. You know, so it's like the people you meet, and that's kind of what the whole industry, and it's like whoever you meet, you pretty much you become friends, and then you train nonstop, and you build trust around that with people around you, and they're like, hey, I like the way you move, I trust you, we fought together before,
Right.
like, can you be in this project?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. I imagine that's kind of like people who want to get into like being in the dance like industry,
Mhm.
right? Where it's they take classes, they meet people, they put out works, and then they build those connections. And they're like,
Mhm.
hey, I have this thing with this artist coming up. Do you want to be in it? Because I've seen what you've
Yes,
done.
that's exactly the
So it's
same.
just like that.
Yeah, exactly the
Mm.
same.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask. The next question is like for the audience who are listening to this, and they're like, "Oh, stunt work. That seems sound so cool." And I see these people do like what you're doing.
Yeah.
How do I get into that? And
Yeah.
like maybe like what are some pieces of advice or insights that you could pass along?
I think if you ever want to get into film fighting, learn how to actually fight.
Mm.
Yeah, because
Or like an actual like martial art.
actually, martial like one thing that I like to refer to, because I am also a teacher in film fighting. I teach functional film fighting at Swordplay LA, and then I recommend people to take boxing classes. If they want to learn how to kick, take taekwondo classes. If they want to learn like more special stuff, then Muay Thai. There's like, I think the more you know, the better of a performer you are.
Mm.
And it's like kind of, we call it an arsenal, right?
Right.
You have your arsenal of different skill sets, and the more you know, the more you get hired for, pretty much. So for for me specifically, I trained in boxing, taekwondo, jun kendo, and I also learned like a bunch of weapon stuff.
Mm.
So that has gotten me a lot of jobs,
Mm.
and as a not only as a stunt performer, just as a regular performer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And it's kind of crazy because I would imagine like fighting as like a boxer or like jujitsu or like with like guns or like is it gunplay? Is that like
Gunplay,
the
yeah.
yeah, right? It is
We could call it gun fu.
gun
Yeah, yeah.
is like it does look like a different style of martial arts, but
Mhm,
also
yeah.
it's like from a dancing context, it is kind of like
We
that,
we
right?
always, whenever we teach or whenever we like have choreography, we're just like dancing.
Yeah.
We're dancing with a partner. So we one of the styles we also recommend is like doing tango, like a lot of
Mm,
partner work.
partner work.
You build connection between two people, and you learn distancing. You
Yeah.
learn how to move with each other. It's exactly how choreography is. So
Mm,
anything that you see on film that's between two fighters or more than one fighter, there's just dancing with each other.
right.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Nice. Is there something about stunt work or um, performing stunt work that people might not know about? I know that's probably a big open-ended question, but
Mhm.
something like a insight into your world that people might not know.
Yeah, if you've watched the film Fall Guy, which is actually a stunt film,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Oh, with
With
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was catered to like stunts performers. One thing that they mentioned that's very that's very clear is that it all hurts.
Mm,
It all hurts.
it all hurts.
It all hurts.
It is real.
We in that when if you watch the film, he does this a lot. He gives a thumbs up.
Oh, right, right.
He
She's
gives a
like, I
thumbs
hate
up.
that thumbs up.
Yeah, she's like I hate that thumbs up, but that's actually what we do. That's
Right.
100% what we do, because what people don't know is that when we have a wreck or a fall that we do, we can't really show pain, because in the industry, time is money,
Mm,
and we want to keep working.
yeah.
You know, if we get hurt, we don't get paid for the next day. We don't get paid for the next day. We have to leave. They replace us right away,
Mm,
which sucks. That's just how the industry is. Time is money. So what we do, we give the thumbs up, even if we're in so much pain.
yeah.
We try to pull through all the way to the end. There's things called adjustments that we get if they're doing something special that's very uh, dangerous for us, and for example, we get hurt, right? they give us an adjustment, which is like a good amount of money on top of what we usually get,
Mm.
right? But we always try not to get hurt. That's the
Right.
main thing. Safety is always number one, and we make sure not only we are safe, our actors are safe that we're working with, and everyone around us is safe. That's like the main thing.
Right.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah. But yes, it all hurts, guys.
Yeah. It hurts real.
Yes.
For real.
Yeah.
Were there any favorites or most memorable moments that you've had doing stunt work thus far that come to mind?
My favorite moment in my career as a stunt performer was actually working on an 88 Rising project
Okay.
with Akina Jing.
Oh, okay.
That was my first time working with 88 Rising. Really great crew. I got to work with Andy Cheng. Andy Cheng is one of the choreographers and stunt coordinators for Shang-Chi.
Mm.
He and my buddy Joseph Lee are both coordinators and choreographers for Shang-Chi. So the fact that I got to work with them was very cool.
Ooh,
And
nice.
it's like, I'm working with Andy Cheng right now? Oh my God. So it's like my little fangirl moment. And like, I think besides that, the whole crew was really nice. Um, I got to something that people don't know about this music video is that I got to uh, wire rig and help with the pulling because Akina Jing is on wires,
Oh.
and I get to help pull her in the air while she's on the wire harness. So that was my other job besides being a stunt performer. But on top of that, on the day of set, my buddy Joseph, because he was the DP, he was the director of photography, he was on camera. He was like, "Hey John, can you hop on camera B right now? Because like I trust you."
Yeah.
Because he knows that I shoot as well.
Yeah.
He's like, I was like, okay, sure. So he had me hop on camera, and it's funny because on the music and during the music video, I was like, I know what shots are mine. I'm like, oh, that's my shot.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So that's something that wasn't, people won't know, which is, but for me, it's like a very special moment. Like having the director understand my skill sets and trusting me to do something to have such a big responsibility in this music video.
Nice.
So, yeah,
That's the importance of having like a wide arsenal in your
Exactly.
repertoire to
Yeah.
be able to do different positions.
exactly. That's why I was like, I recommend people, right? We all do it now, like to not only be a performer but be a filmmaker. So learn about cameras, learn about lighting, learn about editing, because I think now in this day and age, like that's what they're looking for. That people are looking for people who have a very wide skill set, and those are the people that get hired
Yeah.
every time.
Makes a lot of sense. One of the other things you mentioned was like how does high impact work like stunt work affect our bodies?
Mhm.
And like what is required to either like mitigate the damage or like what is the recovery recuperation process like? So any aspect of that you want to touch on?
Yeah. So before getting to the recovery process, because that's obviously a must, but like we have to prepare ourselves so much before we get into a shoot. So if I know I'm going to be taking like 20 falls on in this production, I have to practice those 20 falls at least over 100 times.
Mm.
So that means I go to the gym, I work out, get my body prepared, I make sure it's good enough to perform, and then I work on those specific falls where I know I can land it safely, obviously showing very high impact. Um, but being able to do it 20 times, because a lot of times on set, you're not going to do one fall once. It's very unlikely. When you do, it's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I get to do this fall once. Oh, thank God. That means I can save my body for the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
night. So we prepare our bodies beforehand to get into situations like those. If there's ever a moment where like something goes wrong and we do hurt ourselves, what we like to do is obviously take a break, from moving for a while, but getting massages, um, acupuncture is a thing, cupping's a thing. There's many different recovery things that you can do to heal the body, and for us, I like to do it every 2 weeks,
Mm.
even if I'm not performing.
Right.
Yeah, because training will always stay high intensity,
Mm.
no matter what, because you never know when you get the job. We'd be training 5 days straight. I get a call or an email. Hey, can you come in tomorrow? We need you for this doubling gig. I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready to go. So that's kind of what we had to be every time.
So just like staying ready,
Staying ready.
keeping your body ready.
Absolutely.
And then also, like you said, taking care of yourself after that whole process is like a must because your body is like your vehicle, right? Like your
Yeah.
investment. Makes a
Exactly.
lot of sense. So I know we probably already touched upon this, but um, we talked about the dangers of action work, and I know it's kind of like it's a very risky, high impact sort of job, but also advice to those who like want to get into what you're doing. Like, if you could give your younger self like some sort of words of wisdom before you getting into this field, are there any thoughts on those?
One thing I wish that I did back then was stay in martial arts. Obviously, my movement career went to dancing more, but I mean, again, I don't regret it. But to do what I do today, I wish I had the skill sets of many different martial arts, starting at a young age. Obviously, as a younger kid, your brain um, kind of absorbs more. Obviously, so we what I would tell my younger self was to stick to martial arts
Mm.
and let your body adapt to anything that kind of goes your way.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
yeah,
Plus, martial arts is one of those things where it's like it's good for you, it's healthy for you, but
yeah,
also functionally, it's good to know martial arts.
yes.
You know,
I think it's also it's good for an everyday thing. It's all about discipline. It's all about understanding your body, and I think people who honestly I think people who do martial arts are scary. You
yeah,
know, they're scary people because they're the most calmest in
yeah,
situation,
yeah.
and they're the like I said, they're the most dangerous person in the room. It's funny because when we were meeting before this, we were grabbing a coffee, right? I was like, sometimes I think to myself, like, yeah, I can think I'm the most dangerous person in this room. Kind
I
of,
don't
kind of,
doubt that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a funny thought, but it's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, it's like confidence,
Hmm.
right? Because I think I told this story before, but I did martial arts when I was younger,
Yeah.
like 8, 9, 10, and then in high school, I kind of got into a fight, not really,
Hmm.
but then later on, I had a dream that I got into a fight and I
Hmm.
couldn't defend myself
Yeah.
because I was out of practice. I wasn't really
Sure.
training in a style. So the next day, I told my mom, I was like, "Can you sign me up for something like
Hmm.
taekwondo or something?" Because I was also learning how to trick, but I also wanted to know how to fight again.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then, like, I think my subconscious was telling me, like, you don't feel confident right now because if you were in an actual fight, you wouldn't feel prepared.
Yeah.
And so after relearning martial arts, then I'm like, okay, my confidence came back. And
Mhm.
now, as someone who knows martial arts, it's like, that confidence is something that is really good for you and
Yeah.
very invaluable to have.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's yeah, confidence is a very big thing that comes with the learning of martial arts for sure. Um, it's also gives you the situational awareness of what's
Mm,
happening around
of
you.
course. Yeah. Last question on stunt work is: have you ever had an issue with like a stunt because you felt like it wasn't safe?
100%
Yeah.
all the time. Um, that happens with a lot of low budget films.
Mm. Just fall off of this and you'll be
Yeah,
fine. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah. I was like, no, that's not how it works.
yeah,
That's well for me because I've been in it for a while now. Before when I was starting my career, I was like, I'll just say yes to anything. It's
yeah,
kind of what you have to do
yeah.
to build your portfolio. But now it's like whenever my questions before I get into the actual shoot is like, what are we doing? What is what you're looking for?
Yeah.
And do we have mats?
Mm.
Do we have safety? Do we have all these precautions beforehand? And if there's a red flag that goes up, then I'm like, okay, well, we can't do that because that's dangerous.
Right.
So it's something that you have to clock in before the actual shoot day. Because if, but again, I've been in situations where I've had to say no or I've had to leave set because it was just too dangerous. Not only for me, but for your actors.
Right.
I was like, and then a lot of those jobs are again low budget films where the director wants something very ambitious but they don't understand how it works. So I for me my job is to explain it to them like this is what you need to do this safely. And if they don't want to pay for it, I'm like, okay, well you could find someone that'll give you free mats,
Yeah.
free safety.
Yeah.
Please find them
Yeah.
and tell me about it. I
Yeah.
would love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are very, very big things that that you need to watch out for. when you get into this business.
Yeah.
Yeah, safety is number one. Like if you don't feel safe, just say so.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good tip. All right. So like maybe a slight pivot, but you mentioned like supporting each other in our communities as one of the things you wanted to talk about. And I know you worked with like so many different people in various fields, and like you train as well, like you train other people. Would you want to like elaborate on this idea of like supporting each other in our communities?
Yeah. Coming from dance, like what I loved about dance at the time was love for it, right? The love for dance and everything was shared equally, shared in knowledge of how to become a dance, how to fall in love with dance. I think that goes the same thing with stunts. Like how do we love the movement? How do we love to fight? How do we love to do falls? That's kind of a weird saying. Like, hey, I love to fall, but honestly, I love to fall because I know how. You know, I think how we support each other is by sharing that knowledge. You know, not trying to keep information when we're all trying to do the same thing. I think there's a lot of times where I've seen people kind of gatekeep this whole industry, and it's a very big thing. It's an issue, honestly. And me as a teacher, I want to share knowledge as much as I can because I think your journey is no different than mine. I think that sure I may be a few years ahead, but I want to get you there too. You know, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to share. We're trying to do art. So I think we need to share the knowledge. And I think we need to share the time and opportunities for people to, grow. And I think that's the main thing. So I think as a community, we should just like be able to again share knowledge, but have fun doing it. It shouldn't feel like a job. I don't think any job should feel like a job.
Yeah.
If we want to grow, then we need to make it fun. We need to make it understandable for people to really just grow with each other.
Yeah.
So
How do you feel like that? So yeah, I love the sentiment. Like, how does that manifest in actuality? Like, are there any sort of things that people should consider in whatever field they're in of like giving back or helping share to like lift the the tide that lifts all ships sort of thing? Like, are there some actionable things people can do?
I think one of the main things is just being nice.
Mm. Be kind, guys.
Be kind, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think what I learned from teaching is that we all learn differently. We all learn at different speeds. We all learn in different creative ways. So if you can understand that we're all different and knowing how to teach people how to share information in a certain way, then I think that's what helps people grow. Like if I were to teach you how to fight, right? Obviously, you know how to fight. But if you didn't know how to fight, I would teach you very differently than I would teach, someone that doesn't know how to fight or move, But there's different speeds at how people learn. But again, I think the main thing is just being kind,
Yeah.
not being aggressive in the way you teach or not getting upset that people learn slower
Mhm.
or don't be impatient, just yeah, just be patient with everyone and just understand that hey, like we're all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And again, you were at one point not the same as them. You weren't at such a good performer until someone taught you. So they gave you the same thing. So I think we need to continue that.
Yeah. I like that. I think one part of it too is as you were talking, one thing that came to mind was if I want to grow as a person and in my artistry, my craft, teaching others is one of the best ways to learn yourself.
Absolutely.
Because it solidifies what you know and helps you translate that to someone else. But on top of that, if you can teach someone else and they can now grow, you have someone else like a partner who you
Yeah.
can like learn from.
Yeah.
And I have a belief that whatever you put out into the universe comes back to you. So if you're building this community, if you're helping people learn and grow, eventually their growth will come back to you because then maybe they'll help you out with something else. And now it is a rising tide that lifts all ships. So it's like you're benefiting yourself from helping other people instead of this sort of gatekeeping mindset of like, okay, well, I just need to focus on myself. And I get it. In certain industries, it's very cutthroat. It's very like dog eat dog. It's a zero sum. But I think people discount the idea of giving back and contributing and how much that has an effect on their longer term career as a person who like people rely on because they're so generous with their knowledge
Yeah.
and they're constantly learning because they're also constantly teaching.
Yeah.
So I totally like that. Um, are there any, I know we might have talked about this, but are there any like habits, mindsets, or behaviors that you think are important to cultivating community and are supporting others? Maybe we talked about this already, but specific mindsets or behaviors
Specific mindsets.
or habits.
Um, I think one habit that's good to have is to be adaptable.
Mm.
Like learn how to grow in different areas. You know, um, like for example, on a film set, not everything is gonna go planned. So learning how to be adaptable in any situation will keep the production moving. So as a fighter, a lot of the times, I mean, okay, let's connect it to like a dance scenario, right? We are performing on stage. I'm on the right wing, you're on the left wing. You're not there. They tell me, hey, John, you got to learn the left side. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that means I have to flip the choreography. So that's the same thing as film and film fighting. Like sometimes when I'm fighting my partner who I've been training with, constantly for like a month straight, right? He's sick for the production day. I'm like, okay. Like director comes to me, hey John, you got to learn the other side. I'm like, okay, great. I know the other side. Yeah, I've been doing it, with my partner. So learning how to be adaptable in any situation, especially with what cameras around you, with lights around you, bunch of, production people, right? And then learning how to adapt to that situation is always the key thing. Um, so a good habit to have is to learn how to be adaptable. Yeah.
Nice. Also, from your example too, is being prepared
Mhm.
and being ready for those opportunities, right? Because if you have this arsenal that you've been training and you're keeping your body in top shape, you're able to be more adaptable than someone who gets caught off guard and it's like, oh, I didn't prepare for this at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Last question on this topic. Are there any good stories that you would like to share on this topic of building community or insights that people you feel like would take away from it?
I think one insight that I have is to find people who love what they do. That's the main thing. Because, like I said before, I teach at Swordplay LA as a functional film fighting teacher. So everything I teach is functional. Like I can use what I teach in real life,
Mm.
and my students can as well. So we just adapt it to more of a film aspect. How to fight for film. But I think find a community for that doesn't prevent you from growing, and good people who have the same mindset as you. I think that's the main thing. Yeah. Because one thing that I try to enforce when I teach is that, hey, I am no better than you. And then, even though I'm the teacher, we are here to do art. We're here to move. Let's create something together, even though you don't know how to fight, but I do. But that's okay. Let's just find a happy medium where we both can perform together. Main thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. You ready for rapid fire?
Okay, I'm
Nice,
ready.
let's do it. That's the best part. All right. So this is the billboard question. It is if you could put up a sign for millions of people to see, what would it say?
I could put up a billboard for million people to see. That's a good question. Um, I would say laugh more.
Mm. Why is that?
I mean, laughing is contagious, right? So I think that just makes people smile. I think we need more. I think we need more smiles in this world. There's too much going on. You
Yeah.
know, there's too much on the road, even every day. There's too much traffic. But if I were in traffic and I see a billboard says smile more, I'm like, that just makes me smile automatically. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, cool. All right. I just need that little thing.
Yeah.
So
Good
that
one,
would be
good.
my billboard.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. What is one of the hardest challenges you faced in your life and what did you learn from it?
The hardest challenge I faced in my life was a little, I'll go a little more personal on this one, but is, facing depression on while living in this world of trying to perform. You know, I think that was one of the hardest things that I'm currently still going through, but am getting better at. You know, but again, there's not it's not just me. There's many other people that go through this um, in many different forms. But for me personally, like getting through a day, not feeling low, learning how to just have fun and smile more, right? Learning how to, share good energy no matter what. I think that's what I've been kind of getting over. So, yeah.
All right. Next one is called self-inflicted wound.
Mhm.
Do you have a story about something that's gone wrong in your life that was your own fault and you have no one else to blame but yourself?
Yeah, I think my back when right after high school, again, not knowing what I wanted to do in life, I did waste a lot of time in my community college years, not knowing and kind of just being lazy. So that was like my like hiccup in life. Like I just wasted so many years just not knowing where I wanted to go until I found like what was in front of me, which was my love for film, my love for dance, love for moving in general, and art. So I was like, why didn't I go to film school earlier?
Yeah.
Why was that? Why was I so late? And I feel like as a performer, even for fighting as well, like I feel like I was a really late bloomer because I only started when I was 27 years old, 26. So for that's like pretty late in the game already. So I wish I started earlier. And even if I was a kid, I would start right away. But like right after college would have been nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
That kind of is okay. Maybe there's a different answer. Maybe it's the same. But if you could redo one thing, what would you do differently?
If I could redo one thing, I would probably stay in dance.
Stay in dance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like stay in dance, but still do what you do now?
Yeah.
Or, oh, okay.
Definitely. I think there is a good balance for both. I do have friends who are still in the dance community who are also in stunts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One of them is a Kinja, which is so funny.
Mm.
But I have many other friends who are dancers. Like they have a career in dance. Also, they have a career in stunts, which is really nice. So I wish I stuck to dance more or continued it back then, and but still fell in love with
Oh,
stunt and
I see.
fighting at the same time. Because I just love movement. So it's like I would love to do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a future where you would get back into dance in some capacity?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. If I had the time. Yeah.
So it's like a time thing.
It is a time thing. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think my life right now is very jam packed, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, I do. I wish I had more time to do more.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Ambitious guys like yourself always want to do more. So
always
I
want to do
respect
more.
that.
Yeah.
Um, if you could give your younger self advice, what would it be? Any age, any time period.
Don't be lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so lazy as a kid, dude.
Uh,
I mean, again, that's like, I think, but it's besides being lazy, like, try harder.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments in my life where I was like, I just didn't try too hard.
Yeah.
So that kind of like stopped me from doing more, I guess you can say. So for specifically in high school, if I tried harder in high school, I think I would have done more.
Mm.
Yeah.
So question on that topic though. So I can relate to people who like maybe are lazy because they don't have maybe the self-awareness or they don't know what they want to do.
Mhm.
So it's hard to be motivated if like, okay, I really don't know who I am or what I want to do. Was it that sort of place where it's like you kind of just didn't really know yet and that's why you're lazy? Or did you have an idea that was like gnawing at you, but you just chose laziness?
I think I just didn't know what I want to do.
Gotcha.
That was a big thing for me. Again, I was dancing throughout my whole high school career, and like that's kind of what I wanted. Like that's all I did, was dance. That's all I focused on because I know I was good at it. Um, I think but looking back now, like looking at what we learned in high school, like from history, math, English, whatever, I was like, all that stuff was really easy.
Mm,
Now that I look back at it,
yeah.
I mean, it's all in the textbooks.
Yeah.
Well, not textbooks now; they're on freaking laptops now,
Yeah.
right? But back then we had books. Okay, we had books. Um, we it was all there. Now that I think about it, all the answers were there. But I was like, I just didn't have interest in learning it. I was like, I just didn't want to do it. So I wish I was like, just do it. try harder to just do it, get it out of the way, so you can move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So
In the last few years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has improved your life?
I think my biggest thing that has improved is my patience. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
At first, in my early career of filmmaking, I was very impatient in the fact that I was looking for jobs nonstop. I would say yes to everything, and then I didn't know how to say no, which is good and bad thing, because obviously as an early, um, excuse me, obviously as an early performer, you want to say yes to build your reel, to build your portfolio. But now I've learned the patience in saying no, and learned the patience of like understanding what's good for me in a job and what's not good for me. So there's been many times where I've had to say no, which is okay. You know, I think that's another skill set, like just saying no. A lot of times for us as a artist, we want to keep going, and we say yes to a lot of things that kind of weird, but it's okay to say no.
That discernment and that judgment is invaluable, right? Just keep you on track or what you want to do.
Yeah.
Um, who would you call successful, and how do you define success?
Hmm. All right, let me think about that question.
Yeah,
Okay.
Could be anyone,
Yeah.
people you know, people you don't know, people you look up to, celebrities, not celebrities, dead, alive, whatever.
Yeah. Successful, huh? I think. Can I change that question a little
Sure.
bit? I think success. There's no. I don't think anyone is really successful. I think as an artist, like we're looking for success, but there's no end to it.
How do you define success then that no one is? Like, what is the definition of success?
I
guess
think
is a
for
better
me,
start.
success is to continuously grow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and to continuously grow, and to want to grow, and to share that with people who want to grow. That I think for me, that's success. To continue the next generation to do what you've been doing, um, because I've had to teach kids who want to learn exactly what we do, right? And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can do it. You can too. I think that's success, to continue what the the to continue what the art is, and what makes people happy and enjoyable, to keep joy and happiness to flow continuously. I think
Okay.
that's success. I don't think there's a point where like, oh, now I'm successful.
So it's a process, not necessarily a destination.
Yeah, it's a process for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
So then, in that case, either everyone's successful or no one's successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I vibe with that.
yeah,
by,
yeah.
by the way, I agree. I
Yeah.
think it's a process.
Because I think for me, like I don't think I've hit my success yet. I see myself in that growing stage. Even at our age, we're like not even in our primes yet. As in film, a lot of people that get hired look older, right? They're the ones that get hired constantly. For me, I have Asian genes, so I look very young.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And then if I shade my face, I look even younger,
Yeah,
which
there
is
you
great.
go.
So I could play younger, which is nice. And but I people want the grittiness of like that kind of old age a little bit, so you kind of have to grow a little more. So I think once I hit like my 40s or 45s, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's hire him. He looks older now.
Yeah.
So but I'm glad to have the skill sets I have now. So when I hit 45, I'm like, oh yeah, he's ready to go.
Nice. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing now?
Ooh, if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I be doing? Win the lottery? I don't know. Buy lottery tickets. If I knew I couldn't fail, I'd probably. I mean, I'd love to start my own business. In that sense. This is kind of random. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, but I want to start like making stickers, like random stickers,
Really?
like troll stickers.
Troll stickers.
Yeah.
Like a sticker shop, like an Etsy shop, or what do you mean?
Yeah, kind of like an Etsty
Oh.
shop, but like to create my own stickers.
Yeah.
Like I've been having every time I'm on set, I'm like thinking about like things that we say,
Yeah.
which is really funny. And like just have make those stickers. Like, okay, for example, everyday life, right? Like you're walking, like what's something that we do every day that's like funny, you know? Like I missed the last step and screamed, you know?
Uh-huh.
It's like when you miss that last step, you go, you know,
Uh-huh.
something like that. Or like it's like random stuff like that, you know, it's like I don't know, like troll stickers. That's kind of what
Oh, I see.
yeah, troll stickers. Like if I could I mean, I think starting any business really.
Yeah.
Like I would love to start business.
What do you like about what do you like about the idea of starting a business? It's just creating something?
Mhm.
Kind of like you
Create
are a creator, you're
my
an
own
artist.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And like I've always dreamed of having my own shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my end goal for my whole career is to have a warehouse, empty warehouse. And like for companies, production companies to be able to rent it out for a good year. All I got to pay for is rent and gas and water, electricity, right? Then they pay what, $1,000 for a day, stuff like that to build sets for a year. I was like, it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
But the creative space for people to grow, again, another thing about growing, right? But having a creative space for people to make their work and their art and to just use it to give back to the community kind of sense, So, yeah, business. I'd love to start a business.
I like that. What is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made, either in time, money, energy, or anything else?
I think the best investment. I think the best investments that I've given is to myself, giving myself the opportunity to train constantly and to understand what my body needs. Yeah, I think like self-care is like the most important thing for anybody. I think that's like we all need to do more of is self-care. I think we all kind of get lost in the sauce, I guess you can say, where we get lost in work, we get lost in our jobs, or yeah, we get lost in our jobs, we get lost in life, we get lost in sometimes family, but we forget that we need to care for ourselves. And I think for me, like that, I've given myself a lot of opportunities lately to really just care for myself and just like understand what I need specifically. So.
Second to last one. What is a favorite recent purchase that you've made within the $50 to $100 range? Could be more, could be less, but favorite recent
Okay.
purchase.
So I recently moved into my own apartment. Yeah. And it's been a slow process to build. Been living out of boxes for a while. But I recently got my own computer desk that's movable.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
it's on wheels. So it's like I think for me, like that's like my workspace. It's like my own like table I can do my work on. I can build stuff on. It's like as a kid, like because growing up, like I was very into Legos. I was very into like building in general. Building Gundams, whatever, right? So it was like I built. I didn't. Well, I technically built my table, and now I can build stuff on the table.
Ah,
You know?
you build a thing you can build stuff on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like my own like little workspace, which is really nice. Yeah, it's like it's nice to call that in mind, but also like I got my own apartment.
There you
That's
go.
like another thing. Yeah,
Apartment,
That's
but
like the thing.
the
Yeah,
table
exactly.
in the apartment.
In the apartment. Yeah, exactly. So that would be like my fun adult purchase. Yeah. It wasn't in the $50 or $100 range. I wish it was.
Oh yeah, was it
But
more expensive?
more expensive.
Oh.
Yeah, apartments are really expensive.
Oh, well, the
Apparently.
apartment. I saw
The apartment.
What about
The table was actually $60, which is great.
Oh,
That's
nice.
great. Yeah. Not
Nice.
bad.
Good. All right, last question. Favorite books, movies, videos, articles, or media in general that you recommend or share the most?
I would say my favorite movie would be a silent film called The Kid.
Okay.
By Charlie Chaplin. I think that I always go back to that movie because one, there's no talking. All of it is straight acting. There's a great stunt work in it because it's Charlie Chaplin and it's all real, no CGI. Again, there's little camera tricks here and there, but again, he is doing everything, which is amazing. But he's storytelling in a way that you have to just watch and understand what they're doing. And it's hard to do that because there's no words.
Yeah.
Again, but we understand that as dancers, right? I think as dancers, we're great storytellers, right? We have to storytell what the music is through our bodies. People can hear it, but when they see it, they see the words on our bodies. It's like a whole nother thing. So my favorite movie of all time is The Kid by Charlie Chaplin.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Well, that is it for rapid fire questions. We made it to the end. It was a lot of fun. All right. So wrapping it up, gratitude. Shout out to my mom. This is where I learned it from. So what is John? What is something you're grateful for? One or multiple things.
I am grateful for my friends who I've been training with recently. They're the reason why I do a lot what I do now. They keep me going, they keep me sane, and also a shout out to the students that have been coming to my class. Like you guys are like the reasons why I keep going. And yeah,
Nice. I like it. All right. Last thing is, do you have any final last ask from the audience or final takeaways that you would like them to have from this conversation?
yeah. I think the main thing I want to say is that if we can just smile more, share what share what everyone should know, when it comes to not only like for me specifically fighting, but like share just good knowledge with people. And I think that goes a long way. So
Nice. I love it a lot. All right. Well, John, thank you so much for being here. I really
yes.
appreciate it. I learned a lot from our conversation. Hopefully, the audience will have gotten some insights from it too. I think they can, really like what you're doing. Oh yeah. Where can people find you? Sorry, last thing.
Yeah, I mean, people can find me on my Instagram handle, John Tieng, first and last name, easy, and also on my website, johntieng.com.
There you go. Yeah, and we'll link to it in the description show notes. All right. So, my final sign off. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Hope you guys really enjoy this episode. Just a reminder to always be kind to other people, especially yourself. And you can always learn something from someone if you just take the time to listen. So, thank you guys for being here.